For Bitcoin, that will become a very real thing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But for the entire space, if it's going to 100 trillion and it's only 3 trillion today, will Bitcoin dominance be 50% of a 100 trillion market? No. Where will it be? Where will it settle as an asset class? We don't know. But let's say it'll have the equivalent or larger than gold whenever gold is at that stage. So let's say it's 30 trillion. So there's the 70% that's going to make an extraordinary amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the S-curve applies to the whole space overall, but the returns are still relatively high to come because we're still pretty early in most of this. And we see that over time. So Bitcoin's returns are coming down. ETH was higher, still is higher, but it's coming down. Solana's higher, but will come down next cycle. Sui or whatever's coming up this cycle, it will still have a couple of acceleration cycles, then it slows down. But what are we going to argue about? That the returns have gone from 150% a year to 60% a year? I mean, this is la-la land in finance, right? Nobody gets given these opportunities. What is a harder thing is why even start a business? Because I don't know almost any business that consistently generates between 50 and 150% a year returns. And you actually don't need to do anything. You just need some capital. There is an industrial savings complex whose job is to say, listen, what you need is diversification and you need us to help you manage it. It's far too complicated for you. And in return, we'll give you 8 or 9% returns. But they're not understanding that their audience has changed. Their audience is not baby boomers who did pretty well in their careers and had some savings, even though the baby boomers are actually very skewed. There's a whole bunch with no savings at all, because the system let them down too, which was their savings never equated to an ability to retire. The median 401k in the United States of a baby boomer is $150,000. They're so fucked.
Mm-hmm.
But you see the average is miles bigger. It's over $1 million. Why? Because it's skewed by the super rich. But then when you go to younger people, 8% returns, considering they've come out of university in debt, considering house prices are 10 times incomes or more, have zero chance of getting up the ladder on an 8% return. So there's the boomer industrial savings complex trying to tell them what works for those guys, but not what works for the customer. And the customer, the client, has a very different need. And so what they've done is that trust broke down in 2008 and 2012 in Europe. The trust of banking, the trust of intermediaries, trust of the middleman, trust of the system. And people have taken it into their own hands. And it's not just in crypto. We see the massive rise of retail trading of options in tech stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the same phenomena. People have had to become more speculative in order to get ahead. It's a real thing. So I think that is an important thing to note. It's all about what's the incentive and for whom. Mm-hmm. And we have misaligned incentives right now. The boomer industrial savings complex wants one thing, which is your fees, and we want another, which is performance. And they're not going to give it to us because volatile assets don't make as much fees as stable assets in massive size. It's a simple equation.
Mm-hmm.
The rise of speculative trading among retail investors reflects broader societal shifts. With limited access to traditional wealth-building avenues, many have turned to crypto, tech stocks, and options trading to bridge the gap.